What's up everyone? So Kosha watched my mini doc on Wiley and says doing one on JAMMER would be great. I think he's overlooked in the scene. And I completely agree. I've got you back. Let's get into this.
It's the murkle, man. Okay.
A proven DJ, producer, MC and undeniably a pioneer, JAMMER Power was born June 3rd, 1982 and grew up in Leytonstone, East London, surrounded by music and the community. His parents ran Elric's, East London Rastafarian Information Community Services, helping the local community find jobs, housing and all-round general support. JAMMER's father, Jerry Power, was a musician, playing bass in a 5-piece roots reggae band with, along the likes of at times, Richard Cowie, Wiley's father, and Mr. Lewis, the late Stormin's father. By the age of 5, JAMMER was already mixing and EQing on his father's equipment. Age 10, screwdriver in hand, JAMMER deconstructed his father's drum machines, only to reassemble them all again within an hour after his dad had gone ballistic. JAMMER actually cites this as the first time he realised music was in his future. That day, his father gifted him an unused Roland 909 drum machine. By 12, JAMMER, now called JAMMER P, was the go-to DJ in the local community for house parties. Age 16 at college, he soon realised that the music curriculum wasn't as advanced as his own self-taught skills. He would focus his energy on business studies in order to gain core business know-how to make his extracurricular activities pay off.
That man was doing that college thing, I come out of that now, realised, yeah, like fuck that, like the man was showing me, yeah, I went to one class, man was telling me I'm answering all the questions, innit, King, do I want to study for 4 years music? So that, I was always on my music, so I said, you know what, let me just do a little business plan, yeah, business course. From there, it was on for, I was hitting the streets, radio, Deja, Nasty, hitting the streets, Roll Deep.
His DJing reputation soon grew on the thriving pirate radio scene. Around the same time, he was working at Essentials Direct, a major distribution company in the UK garage scene. JAMMER's decision to work here was strictly strategic and was fundamental in finding the solution to one of Grime's earliest problems. How do we get this sound out there that's unnamed and find our market, our audience? From Essentials, JAMMER would gather contacts as well as a much needed, well-established distribution network. You cannot underestimate just how important this was in getting this emerging sound heard, bearing in mind just how many of the pioneering MCs would work through JAMMER's studio. Perhaps even more notable to the culture, this is where JAMMER begins to build his pioneering studio, which would soon have him at the centre of the scene. As fate would have it, Essentials were trying to get rid of an old studio, and JAMMER would have his wages docked in exchange for equipment. And as the months rolled on, lo and behold, the Lord of the Mics Dungeon Studio would emerge.
Some people might know it as the Dungeon. This is where a lot of the battles take place for Lord of the Mics. Dad used to have a band down there, a 5-piece band. They kind of moved out and kind of got a venue. The basement became a lot more free.
Now with studio, he would continue to circuit the pirate radio scene as a DJ, but would begin to test his production skills under the alias of Aladdin. Once proficient, he would release dubs under the name that we now know, JAMMER. In a conversation with Flowdan and Julia Adenuga, he reminisces on some of his early attempts at production.
I started to build the studio in there, but then Flowdan and Wiley came around. And I remember I was making beats and that, and I showed them my first tune, yeah. They laughed till they cried. They was on the floor.
I didn't laugh though, it was Wiley laugh, man. I didn't laugh. Because you was my friend, fam. I brought Wiley there, and Wiley didn't really have much respect for the situation.
They laughed at the beat so much that it hurt my insides. I never let no one come to the studio.
Wow.
Do you know what? I don't even want to remember what it was.
In 1999, the same year Wiley produced Eskimo, JAMMER would produce Army. Lockdown Records, who platformed Mike Skinner, would say this track was unmarketable. The track had got so much hype on pirate radio that 12 months later, Lockdown Records called JAMMER and asked to sign the very track they had turned down 12 months prior. JAMMER was one of the first, if not the first producer in this emerging subculture to get a track signed. This was critical. Not only did it springboard his career, but it also shifted the energy in the scene. For the first time, producers realised that their music was marketable. There was money to be made. Now, Jammer would form 187 Crew alongside the likes of DEE, Hyper, Leon B and Ebony J. Unfortunately, I can't find any footage of 187 Crew because they were so short-lived. Soon, Jammer and DEE would join perhaps the most talented grime collective of all time, Nasty Crew. Organised by Marcus Nasty, consisting of Kano, Jammer, DEE, Monkstar, Armour, Mac 10, Getz, Stormin, Sharky Major and more. They ran perhaps the most popular show on pirate radio, Monday night, 8 PM till 10 PM on Deja Vu 92.3. At this time, everything was done in-house, so to be a successful crew, you needed a good DJ, standout MCs, and a producer, something Nasty Crew were lacking. DEE would push Jammer to focus his energy more and more on production. He would go on to become one of the key pioneering producers of the scene. His catalogue is vast, but I picked out 5 productions which I believe are truly pioneering and genre defining. Check it out. In at 5, I've got Chinaman sampling Jet Li's Twin Warrior theme music with a classic vocal from Sharky Major.
This ain't a game, no, it's too real to be a game. Yo, this ain't a game, this is my life. Forget dreaming, I'm gonna make it happen now. I won't ever back down till I'm king of this sound. It's time to
4, Blues, a completely different style of production, very bouncy and high energy, famous for that Lord of the Mics clash, Wiley versus Kano.
What you saying? I'm spraying and that's nothing back a day. And every day I'm on road all day. Won't ever bar rude way. What you saying? Constant spraying. Had enough, now I ain't playing. What you saying? What you think that I can't hear? What you saying? Come in the mic and start spraying and say what you saying. After that, then I will come on the mic and I will start spraying.
Bring your games. If you wanna play games, war games, love games, let's kick it off. Lyrics, verses, beats and tunes. I write my own thing. You can't ever write me off. You're looking at the master. Like a mind games with the master.
3, Take You Out. This was an absolute Nasty Crew banger and solidified them as one of the greatest crews in grime scene history.
You can't keep up with my pace. I'm gonna replace and take your place first place. Shouldn't have tried it in the first place. Now you're hiding in your mum place. Don't wanna
2, Birds in the Sky. When D-Double's vocal hit the circuit, it had a completely different sound to any other grime release at the time. Years later, Chip would release a tribute track with both Jammer and DEE on feature.
In the sky, you try to shout on mine, you be left to die. Why? Cause I'm an evil guy. Take it out, there's no reason why I should have to lie. If you could blind time, you high five. Nasty to the better side by side, we're about to fly high like birds in the sky. If you try to chat on mine, you be left with a big fat fine. Next time I see you on the front line, you're gonna be mine.
And we're going to end part 1 of Jammer's Grime Chronicles with one of the greatest grime tracks of all time. This would be a precursor to perhaps the most famous grime song of all time, Pow. Formatted similarly as a relay track, but arguably showcasing a better lineup with Wiley, Kano, Crazy Titch, Dirty Dougs, and more. Thank you for watching. Remember, we haven't even got to Lord of the Mics or the studio yet, so stay tuned for part 2. But this is the end for now. Peace, and this is Destruction VIP.
Listen behind the computer and I got the whole getting one rhythm.
I'm hearing my name to say my name. I'm still street playing the game. I'm loving the game. I'm not asleep, wide awake. I'm butting the game. My name's Wiley. That's that Eskimo boy. Yeah. I'm hearing my name to say my name. I'm still street playing the game. I'm loving the game. I'm not asleep, wide awake. I'm hot in the game. My name's Wiley. He's the Eskimo boy. Gonna show everybody who's hot out of us and you. What have you seen? What have you been through? I know trouble. Trouble said he don't know you. I know beef and beef said he don't know you. I had war. War said he don't know.